Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something tonight. When a man starts ignoring you, that's not the time to lose your mind, blow up his phone, or beg for attention. No. That's the time to stand tall, fix your crown, and remember exactly who you are. Knowing your worth is one of the most powerful moves you can ever make in life. When you finally realize who you are and what you bring to the table, you stop entertaining situations that treat you like a side option. You stop explaining yourself to people who already know your value but choose to ignore it. You stop begging for love that doesn't require proof. Because when you know your worth, chasing is no longer an option. You stand still, you stand strong, and you let respect come to you. Too many people lose themselves because they think love means proving something. They keep showing up for folks who barely show up for them. They send message after message, waiting for a reply that never comes, hoping silence will somehow turn into attention. But here's the truth. Love that requires chasing was never love to begin with. You should never have to convince someone to see your value. The right person will recognize it the moment you walk in the room. When someone ignores you, they are telling you what place you hold in their life. Believe them. Don't rewrite the story. Don't start doubting your worth just because someone else couldn't see it. People can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. Sometimes their silence isn't rejection, it's reflection. It's showing you who they are, not who you are. And that's your cue to stop chasing and start choosing yourself. When you know your worth, you don't seek closure in chaos. You don't run after people who leave you hanging. You understand that distance can be protection. You learn that peace is better than pretending. You focus on your growth, your healing, your goals. You become so focused on improving your life that the people who once ignored you have no choice but to notice the glow they walked away from. There's power in not reacting. There's power in silence. There's power in saying, I deserve better, and actually meaning it. The moment you stop chasing what disrespects you, you create space for what's meant for you. And when that happens, life starts aligning differently. Your confidence grows. Your energy shifts. You attract better because you've stopped settling for less. Knowing your worth doesn't make you proud, it makes you peaceful. You no longer fight to be seen, you simply shine. You no longer explain why you're valuable, you embody it. And when you reach that point, no amount of ignoring, ghosting, or disrespect can shake your spirit. Because a person who knows their worth doesn't chase, they choose. They choose themselves every single time. And in that choice lies the freedom, power, and dignity that no relationship, no rejection, and no silence can ever take away. Silence is one of the strongest messages you can ever send, especially when someone has chosen to ignore you. It's not weakness. It's power wrapped in peace. When you stop reacting, stop explaining, and stop trying to make someone understand your value, that silence begins to speak for you. It says, I've learned my lesson. It says, I'm not begging to be understood anymore. It says, I respect myself enough to walk away quietly. That quiet energy shakes people more than anger ever could. When someone ignores you, your first instinct might be to demand answers, to text, to call, to figure out what went wrong. But silence is the complete opposite of desperation. It's discipline. It's self-control. It's saying, I will not chase confusion. I will not argue for attention. You see, when you stay quiet, you allow your absence to make more noise than any words could. People start to notice the shift. They start to wonder why you're no longer available, why your energy has changed, why your presence feels missing. That's the beauty of silence. It turns the tables without you having to lift a finger. Silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about your peace more. It means you realize that not everything deserves a response. When people treat you poorly, your silence shows maturity. You're not trying to win arguments anymore. You're choosing peace over drama. You're showing that your time and energy are too valuable to be wasted on situations that drain you. Sometimes silence is the closure you give yourself when no one else can offer it. People underestimate the power of not saying a word. But silence is a mirror. It forces people to face themselves. When you stop reacting, they're left to sit in their own thoughts. That's when regret starts to grow. That's when they start to replay your calmness in their mind. The human mind is funny. It craves what it can't reach. And your silence becomes that unreachable space that makes them question everything. The moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you take back your strength. Because truth doesn't need to be shouted, it just needs to be lived. Silence is elegance, it's control, it's confidence. It's what separates a person who's desperate to be heard from the one who knows they don't have to prove anything. When you master that silence, you become unpredictable. People can't read your emotions, can't manipulate your reactions, can't use your words against you. You hold all the power without having to say a thing. So when someone chooses to ignore you, don't try to compete with their silence. Perfect yours. Don't rush to fill the gap with explanations or emotions. Let your quietness speak the truth that you've outgrown chaos. You've leveled up emotionally, and you're no longer available for one-sided connections. Because the moment your silence becomes your strength, that's when people start hearing you the loudest. Focusing on self-growth instead of seeking validation is one of the most life-changing decisions a person can ever make. When you stop looking for other people to approve of who you are and start building yourself from within, everything in your life begins to shift. You stop asking, do they like me? And start asking, do I like who I'm becoming? That's the real question. Because the moment you stop chasing validation, you create space for transformation. You stop performing for attention and start evolving for yourself. See, too many people get caught in the trap of proving something. They want someone to notice them, to clap for them, to say, I see you. But here's the thing, not everyone will see your worth. Some people are blind to your greatness until it's no longer available to them. That's why you can't depend on applause to define your value. Validation is temporary. Growth is forever. When you focus on your self-growth, you don't need anyone to confirm your importance. You already know it because you've done the work to understand it. When you start investing in yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you become unstoppable. You start walking differently. You talk with purpose. You move with direction. You don't chase attention anymore because you realize your goals are too big to be distracted by people who can't keep up. You start setting boundaries, not out of anger, but out of love for your peace. And that peace, that inner strength becomes magnetic. People start to notice the glow that comes from growth, not validation. Self-growth teaches you patience. It teaches you that not everything and everyone deserves access to your energy. It reminds you that healing is not weakness, it's strength. It's choosing to face your flaws, your mistakes, your insecurities, and saying, I'm still worthy. That's the kind of power no outside validation can ever give you. Because when you've done the work, when you've built yourself piece by piece, you no longer fall apart just because someone stops clapping for you. You keep going. Validation is like a sugar rush. It feels good for a moment, but it doesn't last. Growth, on the other hand, is nourishment. It sustains you, it grounds you, it builds you from the inside out. When you start growing for yourself, you stop depending on anyone else to make you feel enough. You realize that your worth isn't in their words, it's in your actions, your discipline, your consistency. So instead of chasing people who don't appreciate you, chase your purpose. Instead of waiting for someone to tell you you're doing great, tell yourself every morning, I'm proud of my progress. You become your own motivation, your own validation, your own strength. Because once you understand that growth is a solo journey, you stop needing permission to shine. You simply rise quietly, steadily, and powerfully into the person you were always meant to become. Confidence and peace are magnetic. They draw people in without you even trying, and that's the beauty of it. When you walk in confidence, when your energy radiates calm and assurance, people can feel it. You don't have to shout about who you are. You simply exist in your truth, and that truth attracts everything that's meant for you. Peace is not loud, it's powerful. Confidence is not arrogance, it's alignment. When you combine the two, you become a force that no one can ignore. Confidence doesn't come from looks, money, or approval. It comes from knowing that you are enough. even when nobody claps for you. It's built through struggle, through lessons, through learning how to stand on your own when everything around you seems uncertain. You develop confidence by trusting yourself, by keeping promises to yourself, and by choosing not to let fear dictate your decisions. When you do that, your energy shifts. People start to notice the way you carry yourself, calm, steady, unbothered. They can sense that you don't need validation because you already believe in your own value. Peace, on the other hand, is the quiet strength that keeps you grounded. It's what keeps you from reacting to every bit of chaos that tries to get your attention. When you have peace, you stop chasing things that disturb your spirit. You learn to walk away without explaining yourself, to let people think what they want while you protect your calm. That kind of peace is rare, and that's why it's so attractive. People are drawn to those who have mastered stillness in a world full of noise. Confidence and peace together create balance. One keeps you standing tall, the other keeps you standing still. When you have both, you're untouchable. You don't compete, you don't compare, and you don't beg to be seen. You simply show up as yourself and let the right people find their way to you. It's not about pretending to have it all together. It's about knowing that even when things fall apart, you'll still be okay. That calm, grounded belief in yourself makes you magnetic. People can feel your energy before you even speak. When someone ignores you or tries to play with your emotions, your confidence and peace protect you. You don't chase after explanations. You let silence do the talking. You don't lose your self-worth over temporary rejection because your confidence reminds you that no one can take away what's already yours. Your peace tells you that walking away is not loss, it's self-respect. There's something deeply attractive about a person who doesn't beg for attention but commands it through presence. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence and inner peace, people feel safe around you. They trust your energy, they admire your strength, they see in you something they wish they had within themselves, and that's why confidence and peace are magnetic. They pull in the right people, the right opportunities, and the right kind of love without you ever having to chase any of it. Letting absence show your value is one of the smartest and strongest things you can ever do. Sometimes silence and distance can say more than any words or explanations ever could. When you remove yourself from people who took you for granted, your absence becomes a mirror that shows them what life feels like without your presence, your support, your energy. It's not about manipulation or games, it's about awareness. You can't make people appreciate you while you're constantly available. Sometimes they have to feel the emptiness you leave behind to understand the weight of your presence. When someone ignores you or starts acting distant, the natural reaction is to close that gap, to reach out, to fix it. But every time you rush to fill the silence, you rob them of the chance to realize your worth. Absence gives them space to think, to notice, to reflect. It's not easy. It takes strength to step back instead of chasing clarity. But when you do, something powerful happens. You shift the energy. The same person who once thought they could live without you starts to feel the loss. That's the power of stepping away with grace instead of anger. People rarely see value when it's right in front of them because they get used to comfort. They start assuming you'll always be there, answering every message, forgiving every mistake, showing up every time they fall short. But the day you decide to stop, the day you say, I'm done explaining my worth, that's when everything changes. Suddenly, your absence is loud. Your silence echoes. They start to miss the laughter, the peace, the effort, the love you gave so freely. They start to remember that what they ignored was something rare. Absence isn't about punishing anyone, it's about protecting yourself. It's choosing peace over confusion, self-respect over desperation. It's saying, I don't need to prove my value to anyone who refuses to see it. When you step back, you give yourself the space to heal and grow, and at the same time, you give others the chance to recognize what they lost. That's when real perspective kicks in. People don't miss your presence, they miss how your presence made them feel. And when that feeling is gone, they start to understand just how much you matter. Letting absence show your value doesn't mean disappearing forever. It means no longer forcing yourself into places that can't appreciate you. It's standing firm in your worth and trusting that those who truly care will notice the difference and come correct. You don't have to chase, beg, or remind anyone of your importance. Your absence speaks for itself. It teaches people that access to you is a privilege, not a right. When you finally master that lesson, you stop being afraid of losing people. You realize that anyone who can walk away from your presence without regret was never meant to stay. And anyone who truly values you will feel that absence so deeply that they'll move mountains just to feel your presence again. That's the undeniable power of stepping back. It turns your silence into the loudest reminder of your worth. When you rise above drama, real love finds its way back. There's something powerful about choosing peace over chaos, calm over confusion, and maturity over meaningless arguments. When you stop feeding into drama, you stop giving your energy to things that drain you. You start creating space for what truly matters, love that's genuine, steady, and respectful. Real love can't grow in noise. It thrives in peace. And the moment you stop entertaining negativity, the right kind of energy begins to find its way toward you. Drama is addictive because it keeps you emotionally occupied. It makes you feel like something's happening even when nothing is truly moving forward. But when you're tired of the same cycles, the fights, the misunderstandings, the emotional games, you begin to understand that peace is priceless. You realize that protecting your energy is not weakness, it's wisdom. Walking away from drama doesn't mean you're avoiding love. It means you're preparing for a healthier version of it. Because real love doesn't require chaos to prove it exists. When you rise above the noise, you start to see things clearly. You see who truly cares and who only shows up when there's conflict. You see who brings peace and who brings pain. That kind of clarity only comes when you stop reacting to every little thing that tries to pull you off balance. People may mistake your calmness for indifference, but it's actually strength. It's you saying, I've outgrown the version of myself that needed to respond to everything. You're not running from problems, you're choosing not to create new ones. Real love recognizes maturity. It recognizes consistency, calmness, and understanding. When you rise above drama, you attract people who speak the same emotional language. They're not interested in mind games or confusion. They want connection and growth. You stop attracting situations that test your patience and start aligning with relationships that respect your peace. That's the natural law of energy. What you put out is what comes back. If you move with chaos, you'll meet chaos. But if you move with grace, peace will follow you everywhere you go. Rising above drama doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself enough to protect your mental and emotional health. It's knowing when to stay silent, when to walk away, and when to stop proving your point. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is to keep your peace while everything around you tries to disturb it. That's when you truly step into your strength. And when you do, you start noticing that real love, the kind that nurtures, supports, and respects you, starts finding its way back into your life almost effortlessly. Because peace has its own gravity. It pulls in people who value balance and pushes away those who thrive on chaos. When you rise above the noise, you send a message without saying a word. You're done with temporary people and you're ready for something real. And that's when love, the kind that lasts, recognizes your energy and comes home to you.